What's going on, y'all? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snap. Shout out to everyone hanging out with us right now. Please, youtube.com/@snaps CFB _ TBob, A-Bear, and Aaron Murray, your fearless hosts as we wade through the college football waters together every single day. We got our guy Chris Doering coming on here in a little bit to talk about the Gators. He's feeling a little bullish on his Gators at a time when most are not. And that'll probably be the majority of the show today. May have to be a little bit of a quicker show. We'll see. But I do want to go through the Athletics All-American teams, Aaron. We're going to kind of and we can do one or two more position groups for our water cooler series. So yesterday we did what? We kind of hurried through quarterback rooms. I remember this is PFF's top rooms. We did running backs, I believe, right? And then offensive line.
Offensive line. That's correct.
We did running backs, right?
We did do running backs, 100%.
Okay. So we'll pick a couple more. We'll do those. Also, when we look at the Athletics All-American teams, I think there's some good water cooler talk involved there as well, because we'll get to know some fun facts and some players that otherwise you may never have heard of. Like, I do this job all the time, right? Like, this is my job. This is essentially how we get paid. I talk about sports. I actually didn't know who who Benjamin Morrison was.
No.
Do you?
No.
That is a first team All-American cornerback from Notre Dame.
Hey,
that's a guy who had 3 picks, 10 pass breakups. He only gave 279 yards on the year and was a part of the nation's best pass defense from an efficiency standpoint. This is bad because I should have known this. Do you know who Jay Higgins is?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Iowa linebacker. 171 tackles, 12.2 per game. I'll tell you about some offensive linemen. So look, there's some fun stuff to learn there. Like, I didn't know about Ashton Jeanty. Do you know about him?
No, I do not. That's a new one too.
It's Boise State's running back. Led the nation in yards from scrimmage last season. So as we're going to see a ton of a lot of fun facts, new names to learn, because look, because college football is not like the NFL. I think one of the attractive parts about the NFL is you got 32 teams, right? So you can kind of keep up with all the starting quarterbacks. You can keep up with the storylines. You kind of know what's what. College football, you'll turn on a game and you'll be really excited, but it always helps when you understand a couple of the pieces on the board.
Well, it also helps. It also helps. We talked about before, playing the game. I think that has helped me a ton.
NCAA 25. Yeah,
NCAA 25 has helped me a ton, especially when we go through our week 1 matchups and you start looking at the rosters. Like, who does you said this before? Who does the game makers think is good, and what teams in the rankings? You start like, oh wow, I didn't realize that this team had this. I was like, we played with Notre Dame and A&M, which we did like a month ago, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
We really paid attention. We would have been like, damn, they got a shutdown corner on this side of the field, which is pretty awesome. So,
yeah, I mean, that game was pretty wild. That was just, even you were throwing picks that game.
I was.
The times have changed. Let's be honest, Theo, up until 2 years ago, you didn't know much about outside of LSU. Yeah, I mean, look, to be fair, when I only covered LSU, I did not cover as much as a whole. But these last 3 years now, all I do, like on Saturdays, guys, all I do is I lock myself in this office. I have 2 big screens. I open up 8 Hulu windows. Generally the best game gets 1 screen or 5, because the best game gets 1 screen to itself. And then I have 4 games going where I'll kind of make them bigger or smaller based on how interesting they are. Aaron's seen the setup.
Looks great.
Back
looks
in the
phenomenal.
I'm in a new office now, but
our boy Doering is having trouble with the StreamYard link right now. It keeps making him download the app, and I think he's struggling, unfortunately, to get it. So we will.
Well, he is pretty fucking old.
He looks good though.
He looks incredible.
He looks
better than I do. He looks significantly better than I do. He still has abs, but I think he might be in his 50s. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's actually. Let's see here. But yes. What?
He's in his 50s.
51. 51.
Yeah.
God, he looks unbelievable, dude. Can you imagine having abs at 51 years old? I can't even get him at 33
years old.
I'm trying. Oh, you're in your Jesus year, Aaron?
I am in my Jesus year.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay, that makes me feel better about the future of snaps. I feel like we got some big things coming. Jesus year was big for me. kind of fallen off since, which I guess, to be fair, so did Jesus. Or I guess he didn't fall off. He more like rose up. But you get the point. Ashley says Billy's getting fired after Georgia, then he can play balls out against LSU. I don't think Billy's getting fired midseason. I guess here's going to be the thing. Here's going to be the thing about, I mean, I guess if they wanted to get a jump in the coaching search, you can do that without firing the guy, honestly. But here's going to be the thing that I want to ask Chris Doering is, like, yes, Florida could be better, but will we see it because of the schedule? And will it even matter? Because, like, if it goes bad and, like, yeah, like 7-5 would be really fucking good, actually, objectively.
Mhm.
But is that enough to save Billy Napier's job?
I think 7-5 is
that
yes.
enough to save?
I would say 7-5 saves his job. You cannot fire a coach 7-5. That schedule.
Bro, they fired both their previous coaches fresh off of like 10-win seasons and like SEC championships and shit. What are you talking about? You can't fire 7-5.
But there was other issues going on. There was the lack of recruiting or the lack of effort of. There was a huge personnel
the recruiting class
gap.
sucks right now. Georgia Tech has a better recruiting class than Florida.
Well, he's got to pick it up then. Got to pick it up.
And the last class collapsed on signing day. Thank God they got DJ Lagway, or he might have been fired already. I like Billy Napier. He's always been very kind to me on an interpersonal level. All I'm saying is it's wild that we've gotten to the point with the Florida fucking Gators, a team, Aaron, that for our lifetime has been dominant. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Spurrier back in the day, Urban Meyer, mid-2000s, at times the most dominant. But remember, even under Jim McElwain, winning multiple 10-win seasons, playing in New Year's Six Bowls, playing SEC championships. Under Dan Mullen, same thing, knocking on the edge of the playoff. Like, this has been a powerhouse. And now you're telling me you can't fire somebody for going 7-5? What would happen at Georgia if you turned in last year? What were they, 5-7 last year, and then you went 7-5 last year? Is Georgia going to take that because they get a hard schedule? No. So shut the fuck up. Don't tell Florida fans to take it. It's just like when y'all head pat Kentucky and tell them they should be happy to pay Mark Stoops $9 million. You know what, dude? You linked your Twitter on here, didn't you?
I did link my Twitter on here.
That's why the numbers are so much higher.
I forgot to link mine. I've been trying to tell you.
I forgot to link mine. I need to take advantage of all of my Twitter followers. I can't do it mid-show, can I?
No, you can't do it mid-show.
I guess we don't get Twitter chat in here. What's up, everybody? If you're new, we're used to only streaming this on YouTube. We would love it if you could hit us with a sub, youtube.com/@snapscfb_. It's a little unwieldy, but if you Google Snap CFB, you'll find it. And, you know, look, we do the show here. Pretty sure during the football season here, basically 6 days a week. You can also see me.
He's really struggling with this app. It is. He said, I'm trying to download it. It's making me put my credit card information again for some reason. I'm like, it's just a link.
I don't think he's on the right site.
I don't think so either.
I'm pretty sure you can just do it through Safari, can't you? Like,
yes. He looks good, but the Florida's a great education, so I'm not even going to talk shit.
Florida's an incredible education.
Incredible education.
Actually one of the best in the country.
Incredible education.
Bo says,
I will say this about the fire, not fire situation is at the end of the day, one, obviously you have to know, do you have someone that you feel like could be better? And two, are you willing to then have 2 more years of suffering before you hit start again? Like, are you completely over Billy Napier and everything that he's brought to the floor that you're willing to then suffer for 2 more years in hopes that the next coach can resurrect Florida back to where they are?
I think that's a loser's mentality. I think you're espousing a loser's mentality. I think you're Florida. If you have a guy you believe in, you end up going to get him. There he is. God, look at him. This Adonis of a man, this fucking Greek statue, a man whose neck is so thick it extends out of his jaw. Look at the square cut, the dimples on the smile.
I was going to tell you, you know what's a loser? A fucking loser is StreamYard. Fuck StreamYard, man.
Yeah, what's up? Chris Doering of the SEC Network. all-time good Florida football player, NFL vet, walk-on, first ballot, unquestioned walk-on Mount Rushmore. Chris Doering. CD, what's happening, bro? How we doing today now that we're through our tech problems?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Good to be on with you guys, man. I'm up here in Charlotte and sitting in this hotel room getting ready to do a show tonight at the SEC Network studio. And, it just feels like football season again being back up here, man. I'm ready to get going and excited to be on with you guys.
Hell yeah, dude. We are too. So let's talk a little Florida then, because you've been telling us for a while now, and you were very honest. You thought Florida looked like garbage last year preseason.
Yeah.
You've been telling us for a while now. You're feeling a little bullish on this squad. Here's my question.
Yep.
Are Florida fans willing to accept that you could be much improved but still be like 6-6? Does that matter?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to a fellow Georgia guy last night, Aaron, and I was talking about, I realistically think that Florida can win 7 games. And he's like, man, how crazy is it if Florida fans have moved the goalpost to thinking that a 7-win season is acceptable? You know this, Aaron, growing up in the state, it was all about winning SEC championships. It was all about competing for national championships. And now we're just talking about getting bowl eligible, which I think speaks to the depth of how far this program has fallen off. Now, with that being said, TBob, I don't think that this year is going to be judged on wins and losses as it relates to Scott Strickland. I think short of it being an utter disaster, I think it's about the aesthetics, how Florida looks in operating. They were a complete mess last year, from game 1 with the 2 number 3s on the field on the kick return, to execution in the Arkansas late game 2-minute situation, to spitting in the face of an opponent after you get a 3rd down stop against Florida State, and the momentum completely changes. This was an offseason about restructuring the people around Coach Napier. He's not giving up play calling duties. A lot of Florida fans wanted him to hand that over to somebody else. He's still going to be doing that, but they made a lot of changes on the defensive side. New defensive line coach, new secondary coach, and maybe more importantly, Ron Roberts coming in as the defensive assistant to the head coach. He's going to oversee kind of things with Austin Armstrong, the defensive coordinator. The 2 of those guys coached together at Louisiana, and Austin Armstrong calls Ron Roberts his football father. So there's a great relationship there. I think the restructuring there, along with what they've done to add some veteran players in the transfer portal, particularly on the defensive side. You got 4th, 5th, even 6th-year players that are adding to a young group of players that was thrown into the fire last year prematurely. In fact, I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but 25% of the defensive snaps for Florida were taken by true freshmen last year. Ooh. That's a recipe for disaster, and that's a recipe for losing a lot of fourth-quarter games, which Florida was in but couldn't finish.
I want to ask you this: when it comes to, you talk about the aesthetics and just looking good. One thing that does look good is when you get big time players on campus, and I think that's going back to the previous hire. Got Dan Mullins, but canned was the fact that he could not keep up with Georgia when it comes to recruiting. Florida got one of the top quarterbacks in the class this year that's going to be on the roster. But you look going forward, not looking too hot for 2025. If you are 7-5, 6-6, somewhere in there, but aesthetically it looks good, but you aren't recruiting at a high level, like how much is that playing into it as well when you come to thinking about Billy Napier keeping his job after the season?
Yeah, I think one of the things that kept Florida fans from hanging themselves in the offseason after a 5-7 season was the recruiting class that Florida had put together. They were, consensus top 5. That fell apart late as some players ended up signing elsewhere. But keeping DJ Lagway in that class, probably the crown jewel of definitely the crown jewel of Florida's class last year, was important. I think, and Coach Napier has called it the most important thing that's happened to the program this year, and that's Graham Mertz coming back for another season. I think, Aaron, you'd probably agree with me. I love Graham Mertz. I think he is highly underrated as it relates to, what he brings in terms of production, but also leadership. And he's been a big help to DJ Lagway. I know you played as a freshman, Aaron, but, asking a true freshman to come in and play in this league at the quarterback position is very tough. And I think it's the best thing that could have happened for Lagway to be able to watch and learn from Mertz, the relationship between those 2 guys. I did an interview with those 2 earlier in the offseason, and the way that those guys we're talking about a guy that was supposed to still be in high school when this interview was going on, and a guy that was supposed to be in the NFL, coming together and really creating a relationship that's been mutually beneficial. I've seen Lagway at practice grow considerably from what I saw in the spring. But the offense looks really good when Graham Mertz is in there. It looks smooth. It runs efficiently. And I think the biggest thing that I look at as it goes to recruiting going forward, Aaron, is the offensive line. That's the biggest question this year. I think they got 6 that they feel good about. They need to probably develop another, 1 or 2. But this team is going to go as far as that offensive line can help, both protect Graham Mertz and allow them to run the football, something that Billy Napier wants to do in his offense.
Hey, T, I want to stay on the Graham Mertz thing real quick because I love Graham Mertz. T hates Graham Mertz. He makes fun of me because he just doesn't feel he's
Shut the fuck
he's
up.
sexy
Let me
enough.
jump in then, and then you can ask your question. Stop it. No. Before you get into this, help me out with Graham Mertz, CD, okay? Because on paper, it looks really, really, really good. 73% completion, nearly 3,000 yards. 20-3 touchdown to pick ratio, 8.1 yards per attempt, which isn't like taking the top off, but it's not awful. It's not awful at all. In the NFL, that's good. So why didn't that translate to more winning last year?
Because the defense fucking sucked. Are you kidding me? Defense was abysmal last year. He wasn't playing defense. I mean, he did everything he could have done on offense.
Amen.
I thought, Aaron, I went and did the spring game last year, and I asked Coach Napier, it wasn't some awe-inspiring acquisition in the portal that got Gator fans all fired up. I said, what is it that you saw in Graham Mertz? What was it you like about him that brought him? You want to bring him in? He said, the guy's got an incredible football IQ. He's a tremendous leader. And in our offense, unlike Wisconsin's offense, we're going to put him in the shotgun. We're going to allow him to see the field a little bit better. And we're also we got a tag on just about every play that's going to allow him to get to the right the play and make sure he can use that football IQ to not have us in negative situations. And I thought he did all of that well. TBob, you mentioned minimized the mistakes. The turnovers weren't there. One of the things in the offseason they focused on is pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. So yards per attempt, yards per completion should be higher this year. You do lose Ricky Pearsall, but Trey Wilson is the best player on this team. He's back, ready to take over that role. They've done a nice job in the portal and went and got DK from Wisconsin, somebody that he had played with before, another receiver and Badger from Arizona State, some young guys that are on this roster. So I do think you'll see an even smoother operating passing game. But for all of those reasons, T-Bob, they did enough on offense. Like, if you can't get off the field on fucking 4th and 17 against Missouri, you don't deserve to win the game. So they don't win that game. They should have won the Arkansas game. It's an
Sounds
absolute,
like me
you
on
miss a
NCAA.
field goal. Yeah, I mean, Florida easily could have won 7 or 8 games last year. They didn't, and the bottom line is they missed a bowl game because of it. But none of that had to do anything to do with the offense or Graham Mertz specifically.
That's fair.
So I'm not going to ask you where Graham Mertz ranks in the SEC because I think it's a really, really good class of quarterbacks this year. But you bring up Eugene Wilson, Trey Wilson, who I think is a hell of an athlete. And people were like, oh, Ricky's gone to NFL, first-round receiver right there. What does Florida do? I think Eugene was the more talented guy even last year. He's kind of that guy you can move all over the place. You saw him make a ton of plays. Where does that dynamic or that duo, I guess is a better word, where does that duo kind of rank in the SEC? Like, could this be one of the best quarterback to receiver combinations we see this year in this league?
Yeah, I think so. And it's not very sexy at all, right? I mean, again, I don't think a lot of people outside of maybe the Florida fan base really recognizes what Graham Mertz did last year. I think you go back and look, I think he was a top 5 quarterback in the league last season when it was all said and done.
To your point, he was the 5th highest rated quarterback. He was right behind Daniels, Milroe, Beck, Dart, but he was ahead of Brady Cook and Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily give you the running threat that Dart or Milroe or some of those other guys do. But like in this offense, I think he operates it really well. I love, for those that have not seen Trey Wilson, every time I go to practice, he's high pointing the dude. He is setting a guy up with a great release. Like, this guy, he's got a really high ceiling. He's going to be even better. I like the way you're working at the line of scrimmage there, T-Bob. Good job. But
jab step.
I think he just has such natural ability, Aaron. And last year, I think they did some things to get him the football. And you know this, Aaron, like when guys can just make plays within the flow of the offense, it makes it even more difficult to stop him. It's not like, hey, we got to line him up and jet motion him to hand the ball off here to get him the ball. But we can find ways within the offense to get him the football. I think his understanding of the whole scheme, complemented with having some people around him. Last year was kind of Pearsall and Wilson and some other dudes, but I think there's a lot more talent that can maybe take some of the pressure off him as well.
All right, Aaron, do you have anything else on Florida?
Can they be competitive with Georgia? I mean, that's the big one. I mean, in Florida State, I think
Shut
there's
the fuck up. Nobody cares about
Can they
Georgia.
be competitive? Because you're going to get judged against your rivals. You got Miami this year. You have Florida. You have Georgia. Can you win two of them? Two of them. That's what I want. Can you win two of them? Or is that too
out of
much?
those three? Okay,
yeah. All right, hold on.
Fuck
Florida,
you,
Georgia. I'm sorry, Florida State, Georgia, and who was the other one?
Miami.
Oh yeah. All right. So Florida's going to beat Miami in the opener on August 31st. All right. Going to be.
Ed Ogeron's at staff at Miami now.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. I love
okay,
Coach
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure we're all aware of the fact.
No offense to Coach O either, but I just and Aaron, I'll defer to you on this. Like, I love Cam Ward looked great at Washington State. He did some really good things, but like coming to the SEC, playing with a team and teammates you've never played with before, and oh by the way, starting your career at Miami in the swamp. Like we saw. Remember last year, Joe Milton made his big debut on the look good in the swamp.
I do this every show. I forgot that this was weird. This was just normal to me. I did not mean you to throw off. If you're listening on podcasts, I just randomly put my Sherlock pipe in my mouth. I apologize, CD.
Is there something in that pipe, or you just like?
No, I mean I smoke tobacco. I smoke tobacco out of it. I don't smoke weed out of it. There's a million different ways to smoke weed. Yes, you can smoke weed out of anything, Aaron, including this pipe. But I just smoke tobacco.
But does that help you absorb information as you're thinking? Is that what?
No, it's like I can't smoke in the office. It looks like I'm in the Shire. I'm actually in my office. No, this is like it's like an oral fixation thing.
All right. Yeah, I feel like
most things in his mouth.
See, like you ask a question and then I'm like, or I ask and then I go.
Yeah, it sounded like you were really interested. It looked like you were really interested, but
I feel like I was really interested. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
Elbow pads and stuff on it, right? You got to have the accompanying jacket, right?
A tweed jacket would absolutely complete the academic look. But hold on, I didn't mean to throw you off for real. So yeah, talking about that. Here's Cam Ward. Like, look at Joe Milton last year. He's got to go to the swamp, and that's where he's going to have to make his debut.
There's just not many times that teams come in favored playing in the swamp, and I don't know that Miami deserves it. Not that it matters necessarily, but I think a new starting quarterback in that environment, opening game of the season. I have this feeling from watching Florida. They have a confidence about them, and you mentioned it earlier, TBob. I was skeptical last year. I'd seen practice. I was not high on them. It's a different feel around that facility now. Aaron, I don't know that they're ready to beat Georgia yet, but I would take them beating Miami at home and a Florida State team that doesn't have Jordan Travis this year. I mean, we don't know what DJ Uiagalelei is going to look like. So I think they can win 2 of those 3 games this season. As I said before, I think they win 7 ball games. The key to the season is winning your home games. They have 7 home games this year, which is abnormal. It's Florida and Georgia having that neutral site game, but also you got to win the early ones because the stretch at the end of the season is not only brutal from a standpoint of opponents, but not having a bye during that stretch is going to be a little bit challenging too.
CD, have you always been so vascular in your neck? Because every time I hang out with you, I can't.
I think it's the view too. I think it's the camera.
This view's helping, but my guy's vascularity is off the charts. As a big guy who's trying to get in shape, I cannot achieve vascular. I can't get my veins to show up.
I don't know if it's a good thing or not, TBob, because I had I don't know if you know. Again, Aaron probably knows what thoracic outlet syndrome is. A lot of overhand throwers get that. So I had a blood clot in my right arm.
Okay. What?
And I had to have my hold on.
Yeah. Yes. Off.
Watch the views go up. Let's go.
I had to get my top rib removed, and I got these things here. So I'm worried that the vascularity may come because I'm not getting good blood flow, and that it's actually maybe a negative thing.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to incite any existential crises here. You look great. I
appreciate that.
You look fucking incredible. Wait, so you're like Marilyn Manson? You had a rib removed? Can you?
Not so I can suck my own dick though. No,
you can't suck your own. Shit. No. How funny is that? That's like the fact that pre-internet that spread to all of us. That rumor about Marilyn Manson, we should do a case study
Between
how
that,
happened.
and the fact that Marilyn Manson was Paul from the Wonder Years, those two things were completely erroneous.
Wait, what?
You never heard that Marilyn Manson was actually Paul from the Wonder
No,
Years?
was that? No, I did not hear that one. So that's another one that used to make the rounds on playgrounds back in the day.
But that was like a second generation to Mikey from Life dying after he had Pop Rocks with Coke. Remember that?
Nah, bro, that might be those might be a little bit before my playground time. Mikey from the Life commercial dying with Pop Rocks is an all-timer, though.
JM12, can we please see your nipples?
I have tremendous nipples, by the way.
Let me see. Oh my God. Look at those things, CD. They're so tiny. Here, look. Look, you can even see my shirt. Mine are so they're so pokey. These are so tiny, dude.
Do you like
do I need to join the crew here?
Aaron, can we get a nip check?
I'm just hairy. I got hairy nips.
Oh, Jesus. Tiny nipples, though. Not bad.
Nice.
I think, look, on the whole, I think we all came out pretty well on the nipple front, to be honest. I don't want to pat ourselves on the back.
It's true.
TBob, when you look at female nipples, are you more of a fan of tiny ones or bigger?
Tiny.
In my older age, like most things in life, I've become less and less discerning,
Isn't that crazy?
I don't give a fuck.
If I could go back to high school, I don't know why I was so picky in high school, but
bro, in college, you're like, oh my God, look at the arch in her foot. I don't know about that. Get her the fuck out of here.
I don't know, boys.
Absurd. Absurd. Okay, her areola might be a little large. I'd slaughter a fat calf for 18-year-old boobs now.
I was able to shave that hair off. It's fine.
To be fair, I actually love mom boobs. Okay, I do. I love them. When they're pregnant, they get full of milk, and
that's true.
And even when they're not, they're still a little bigger, and the texture changes. But you know what it is? It's a fucking it's life. It's real lived-in shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lazy boy that you've had for years. You just sit back and recline on, and you're just comfortable.
So you drink the breast milk?
Yeah, he's breast milk. Yeah,
he's like Homelander. It turns him on.
No. I'm not drinking straight from the teat. To say that maybe a little breast milk didn't. To say that no breast milk ever found its way to my mouth would be erroneous. But it wasn't like I was.
Everyone has to try it at some point. You have to try it. I mean,
I remember we took shots. No, really? My wife and you ever take a shot of your wife's breast milk? Very sweet. No. Yeah, her and her friends, they poured us shots of their breast milk, and we took him. They were very sweet.
Which wife was better?
Friends?
Yeah, they tasted pretty much the same. The only thing that was a bit weird about it is it's warm. You could very clearly tell that it just came out of a living human being, which we're so used to drinking milk cold that was more different than I thought it would be. I had something to ask you. See, I don't.
Yeah. I think Jordan, you had to go. You said you had to roll at 1:30. I don't want to keep you too long.
That call got rescheduled, so I don't have a call till 2 now. We can keep rolling.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll do another football one before we get crazy again, as I try to remember what funny question I had to ask you. So we did a thing earlier. We looked at an article from Ralph Russo. He looked at the AP top 25 preseason. He looked at who made the playoffs over the past 10 years, who would have made it, whatever, crunched the numbers. And he said, okay, basically 4 of the top 5 teams will make the playoffs. 2, 5 through 10. And then I think it's 2, 10 through 12. Then maybe like 1 more and then like 3 unranked or something like that. But out of the top 5 right now, which of the teams do you think will be left out? We got Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, and Texas. One of them, if history holds, will not make the playoffs. Who's going to fall?
I don't understand why we're so high on Ohio State. We don't even know who their quarterback. The quarterback situation doesn't seem any better than last year, does it?
Do they not have one of the top 5 defenses, top 5 running back, elite receivers? I mean, they have I get the quarterback position is a big position. Don't get me wrong, I'm a quarterback, but everywhere else is freaking amazing.
You know this, they were able to skate by last year because they didn't play anybody in the Big Ten until they got to Michigan. Whereas now, thank you, TBob. Now they actually have to play. There we go. Shirt off.
Sorry, I felt bad having CD shirtless alone there.
Yeah, thank you. But they didn't have to play any. They played. Penn State was a joke last year. Michigan was their only true test, and they've lost that every year in a row. Now they got to play they got all the Oregon, Washington, all those teams coming.
They don't play anyone again this year. That's not the Big Ten. You look at everyone's Big Ten schedule, and it nothing scares you if you're a big boy. Besides,
I think you're a little too disrespectful to the middle of the Big Ten, Aaron.
I am not.
I get it. I think it's still a tougher. I think it's a tougher week in and week out schedule than maybe you're giving.
We were worried about the quarterback situation, but there's not a team in the Big Ten that has a great quarterback situation besides Oregon.
That's true.
No one else does. Who else can you say in that league is like, oh my God, we have a legit quarterback.
No, remember, motherfucker, we talked about this the other day. Iowa has a quarterback competition going on now.
I saw the highlights from that.
Yeah. PD, how about this? I'm reading The Athletic, and the headline's like quarterback competition Iowa, and the opening line's like, Sullivan played so well today that Kirk Ferentz has to revisit the depth chart. I'm like, whoa, what did he do? He went 10 of 21 for 71 yards.
Yeah. But then, the bar's pretty low.
Then Cade McNamara was 8 of 24 for 20 yards with a pick 6.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's I don't know why they can't recruit quarterbacks or even put some emphasis on trying to be better offensively there. But I would go back to, if you're closer to home in that top 5, I'm more skeptical about Texas than everybody else is. I don't know how you jump into this league and don't have some period of acclimation. Now, I know they won at Alabama last year. That was great, but they played a lot of close games in the Big 12 last year. You play close games in this league, it's going to come back and bite you. So I'm a little skeptical of them.
And they just lost another running back down to 3 now.
Only because of what CD just said. We forget about their close Big 12 games. But also because of the fact that it is only 1 year that they've done it. That would be my pick. I understand, right? Like, we're having to choose a really good team that we think is going to fall apart. So it probably won't be right? But like, that would be my pick out of the 5 as well. CD would be Texas. Let me offer you another chef's choice then. So let's say the big 3 make it. Let's say Georgia, Texas, and Alabama make the playoff. You have 1 spot remaining. You've got Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, Mizzou.
Yeah, that's tough. So I'm higher on Ole
Who's
Miss.
the least likely first, CD? Who's the least likely? Because
who most likely falls apart? That's a good point. Yeah, who falls apart?
Of those 3 you mentioned?
Of those 4.
Of those 4.
Tennessee, Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU.
I mean, LSU, you got to show me that you're better defensively. Yeah. I mean, I love Blake Baker. I'm excited about him being there. But I think Tennessee moves. I think they're a 10-win team this year. I like Tennessee. Got a chance to see them in their first spring scrimmage. Iamaleava he looks the part. He put on about 15, 20 pounds. The ball comes out nice. I think he'll operate on some of those slant routes and stuff over the middle better than what Milton was able to do last year. I think the receivers are better as well. But I would say I think Ole Miss, if you gave me only one of those 4, I would put Ole Miss in that group over the other 3 probably.
I agree. I think
even with the schedule.
I don't know if my brain's broken, but I've started to separate Ole Miss into their own kind of middle tier between the big 3.
You just said LSU the other day would be the team of the 4 that you would keep out.
No, that would fall apart. That'd be most likely to fall apart.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying Ole Miss above. I'm saying I got the big 3.
You're saying Ole Miss,
other
in that,
3.
In that 4th spot, you're saying
yes.
Ole Miss would
yes.
Yeah, that's what I agree with too. I think if you gave me Georgia, Texas, and Alabama, and I had one more to put in there of that group you gave me, I would go Ole Miss.
Do you think we get any surprise teams in the conference this year?
I mean, I think Tennessee could be a little bit of a surprise team. If I'm thinking about teams that may be movers in the right direction, I think I have Tennessee there. Again, I think I have them winning 10 games.
I mean, Florida could be one, I suppose.
I think Florida well exceeds their expectation. The bar is so low at 4.5 or 5 wins, which Vegas has them at, that I think they get to 7, maybe even 8. I think an interesting team that we don't talk about Oklahoma at all. I mean, Oklahoma.
No.
The trip to Atlanta is going to go through Oklahoma. That last 4 or 5 weeks that Oklahoma has, it's challenging. They do have Maine squeezed in there. They got a bye before Alabama, I believe. But I think Oklahoma is going to have a large say in who ends up getting into the SEC championship game and into the playoff field.
Well, remember we talked about it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, we talked about that too. We said that like there's a lot of teams that have a chance to make the playoffs that play Oklahoma, which is kind of a swing game. Which I think Tennessee is one of those teams that can get to 10 wins if they beat Oklahoma. What about A&M though? I feel like A&M has talent. They have a coach that I think is going to change the culture, as TBob's alluded to. Like, are we not talking about the Aggies enough? And especially when they had the primetime game against Notre Dame week 1.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple teams that aren't being talked about at all, and Texas A&M is one of them, and it's quite the contrast to every other previous offseason. Like, we've been so overexposed with Aggie talk and expectations being set so high that were never met. That maybe it's just we're recoiling from that, and there's some backlash remaining. But man, I'm high on Connor Wegman. I think that season could have gone a totally different way if Wegman stays healthy last year. Coach Elko is going to have that defense playing extremely physically. So I like them. I don't think a lot of people are talking about Auburn too. I think Auburn has one of the most unique schedules I've ever seen in that they're at home. They don't leave Jordan Hare until October, and then they're gone in October for the entirety of the month, and then come back and they're home for the whole November. So I think they can get some success early in the season and get on a little bit of a roll as well. So I think those two teams are being under talked about.
CD, if you were to hold your lotion bottle in your hotel room up to the camera, what's it looking like? Is it full?
I'm not a big lotion guy. I'll be honest with you.
What? Are you a dry guy?
Yeah. I mean, I got soft, supple hands like a woman.
I got to be honest. I was a dry guy for decades. And then coconut oil came into my life and everything changed. I can't do it now. I mean, I never leave home without it. It's just, it's always
this
right
this
there,
is the sponsor that Snaps needs heading into year 3.
Yes, coconut oil.
That's part of the travel squad, like that goes on the road with you, everything.
You have the 3-ounce bottle. You're the 3-ounce bottle from it.
Even in not just in solo situations, in situations with a partner, I find coconut oil to be the premier form of lubricant. If you're looking for an additive, it's natural.
When you're using those butt plugs, you use the coconut oil?
So I have never used a butt plug yet. But
I don't know why. I've tried to convince him. I've tried to convince him.
If I were to start to dabble, yes, coconut oil would be it of choice. Certainly on various toys that have been used in the bedroom, coconut oil is generally where we go.
So I do have, so that's the bed there. I do keep there's some rags that are right around the.
T-Bob's just a belly guy. T-Bob just on the hairy belly.
Yeah, you want to join me in the wet belly, boys? Just lay on your back and finish on your stomach like an animal.
Good times, man. Yeah.
Graham Mertz. Hey, Graham Mertz is going to throw for 9 yards per attempt this season, guys. Get fucking ready. Let's go.
Get you going. I don't know what does. Right?
Danny Stutzman. Okay, what's one last SEC question we could ask Doering here?
If there's a Heisman Trophy winner, who is it in the SEC?
Outside of the quarterbacks, Luther Burden should be the highest talked about non-quarterback Heisman Trophy candidate.
Yeah,
I think they're going to find way. I love that receiving core too. I don't think that people talk about
very good. I had their spring game, really damn good.
Yeah. So that I think Luther Burden could be. I actually think. I think Quinn Ewers. Did you guys see I think ESPN put out a top 100 players in the country. Did you see that today or maybe yesterday?
I got to check it out.
You know who the number one player was on that list?
Who?
Not an offensive player. It was a defensive player. I'll give you one guess.
Okay, hold on.
Don't look.
No, I'm not looking, but he's from the SEC?
SEC, number one player in the entire country, defensive player.
Deion Walker.
From this country. Nope.
James Pierce, we talked about the other day. Yep. He was number one on the other list we talked about. Yeah.
Yep. So
he was number one on something else that we broke down. T.
He was number one on the top 10 returning players in the SEC. That was another ESPN piece.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I was going to say this though, like Jalen Milroe, I think is at 21 or 22, which Jalen Milroe is ahead of Quinn Ewers, ahead of Jackson Dart. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet.
Ooh.
I think Quinn Ewers is a guy that probably needs to be talked about more in the Heisman race. I mean, I know he's one of the favorites, but if I was going quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers might be. I just love Sark so much. I love what he does offensively with the way that he, the route combinations and the way they move guys around. So I think Ewers is probably my pick outside of Luther Burden.
I'm big on Jalen Milroe, but I gotta say, Quinn Ewers did seem very confident at SEC media days, which sounds maybe kind of dumb, but I don't know that I haven't interacted with him much or seen him much. So like it was something that I had never really seen before. It seemed pretty fucking cool, pretty fucking ready to go.
Yeah, I love the transition a couple years ago. Remember, he cut off the mullet. He just decided to really dedicate himself to being the best version he could be off the field. It paid dividends, man. If he can stay healthy, I mean, I think he's got a great chance to be in New York.
He looked like. Have you ever seen The Duel? He
looked like Matt Damon.
Duel. He looked exactly like Matt Damon from The Duel. I'm desperately trying to come up with a picture here of him, but okay, yeah, here we go, dude. Tell me this didn't look just like Quinn Ewers a few years ago. Sorry, and then we'll let you out of here, CD. I mean, look at that. Look at that right there, dude. That fucking was Quinn Ewers 2 years ago.
That's a bad look. That's a tough
No, it's an awesome look, dude. It's a medieval look. Do you know how much like smoky medieval women you would have betted if you had that hair and the ability to turn a little phrase, a little limerick, a little witticism?
That looks more like you're like in the Appalachian Mountains, interbred with some of your cousins and stuff like that, your brothers and sisters, man.
It's like I said the other day, dude. My blood ain't that thick, but she is. Come on now. Second cousins on the menu, boys.
Good talk.
I love you, CD. Thank you. You're the man.
Sorry. Hey, I'm sorry for the early technical issues, but it was good. We had a good time. I'm glad, Matt.
You made up for it with the nipple. We appreciate it.
I know, and you stayed so long. I'm sorry to take up so much time. You're the man. Thank you so much.
No, you're my boys. I love you guys. See y'all soon.
All right, later, Chris. Chris Doering, SEC Network's finest. First ever.
I'm going through this list right now. Nico, first-year starter, number 92 on the list.
Well, let's save the list for next week then.
Yeah.
If we wanted to run real quick through the Athletics All-American teams, let me bring them up so we can have a little visual aid here. What? Okay. For a second, he was saying the athletic.com was down. That would have been craziness. Okay, let's go ahead and
he's a Gator, but seems like he is one of the best in the game. Chris Doering.
CD is a man's. He is awesome. All right, so here is the Athletics first team. I'm already a freaking subscriber. Hold on.
What happens when you decide to play your stupid dynasty and get your ass kicked instead of prepping for the show?
Chat, just give me 1 minute, please.
This is what happens. Not logged in, not ready to go. Still mourning the loss yesterday of losing. It's fine.
Duplicitous, two-timing, hypocritical son of a fucking bitch. Who grinds more prep on this show? Who grinds more? Who shows up 2 minutes before we go live? Every fucking time. You do.
I'm always on here ready to go.
You are a fucking liar.
First off, you can't show up before me because I'm the one who makes the damn stream. So don't give me this.
Exactly. So I have to wait on you as I'm putting together the show, and then I get the text, oh, what are we doing today? No. Check the fucking document.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Just a little bit of a marital spat here. I apologize. That's a little rich coming from you. We both work very hard in this show. Can you both work very hard in this show? Oops. Hold on. All right. Here we go. The Athletics first team All-American offense. Dylan Gabriel at 1. And I'll give you some fun facts that I deemed worthy of saying out here, Aaron. How about this? Dylan Gabriel has 4 3,000-yard seasons to his name already at 2 different schools.
Yeah.
He's also finished top 25 in pass efficiency 4 times, and he has never had a team anywhere near as good as what he's got at Oregon this year.
True that. By far. That's why I think he's
deserving
my
of first team All-American.
Deserving a first team All-American, and he's
Okay.
he's my favorite to win the Heisman heading into the season.
We have Ollie Gordon II, of course, at running back. Here's something that we've talked about in passing, but you probably don't remember because who listens to every minute of the crap that we do? Ollie Gordon. So the first 3 games last year, Oklahoma State played Central Arkansas, South Alabama, Arizona State. Okay, those are easy games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many rush yards he had?
Not as many as he did the rest of the season, I'm guessing.
109. 109 and no tuds. They didn't know what they had. And then South Alabama fucking works him and something. Remember, they lost South Alabama 33-7. And then something clicks and they're like, fuck it. So then over the final 9 games, he goes for 1,600 yards and 21 touchdowns against just the Big 12. That's insane, dude. Insane. Ashton Jonty, we mentioned him earlier, Boise State running back, he was first in the country in yards from scrimmage. Ashton averaged 4.5 yards after contact. So if you're seeing Boise pop up on playoff lists,
that's why.
Ashton Jonty's why.
Well, he's going to have to with his quarterback leaving to go to Arkansas. So expect a lot of him this year.
Even though it's interesting, Boise is so there's a handful of teams that have 2 All-Americans on these 2 teams. Oregon, Oklahoma State, Boise State, LSU, Louisville, Kentucky, Iowa, and Arizona. Georgia has 3, as does Michigan, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Ohio State has 4. To your point, I'm talking about Ohio State here. Okay, Luther Burden, of course, right? I mean, best receiver in the country, hands down. You already know about him. Tetaroa McMillan, again, chances are if you listen to this show, you know about him. He was unreal at Arizona last year. He's right up there with Burden as best returning receiver. But that might be a good water cooler nugget, right? Like if we polled college football fans there and SEC fans in particular, how many do you think would actually know who Tetaroa McMillan was?
None.
Not none, but like probably not the majority, right?
No, not even close to majority. I would say 20%. Very low.
You're probably right.
Very low.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So you can sound smart there. LSU's Will Campbell at left tackle, of course, didn't give up a sack last year. Kelvin Banks from Texas, their great offensive tackle. He's only given up 3 sacks in 2 seasons. Donovan Jackson, Ohio State guard. We talked about that O-line in Ohio State, already a 2-time first All Big Ten team member. Parker Brailsford is your center. He was at Washington last year and as a redshirt freshman was a freshman All-American. How about this? Brailsford on all the PFF lists is listed as the #1 center in the country. Aaron, he's 6'2", 290, which you can get away with at center, but is actually still a bit undersized. Like that's pretty beast, dude. That's pretty beast from Parker Brailsford. All right, let's run through the rest of these guys. And then you got Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama, and that'll round out the offense. Oh, Colston Loveland from Michigan at tight end.
Are you seeing this news? It keep popping up on our timeline.
What?
That RG3 got fired from ESPN.
Why?
I don't know.
Let's look it up. I like RG3, me personally. Okay. So RG3 said, here's a tweet from 4 hours ago. There are people in your circle saying they want you to win, but doing everything they can to make you lose. Don't be afraid to cut people off when they keep handing you the scissors. Classic. See, that's normally more of a wide receiver tweet than a quarterback tweet. Does this mean
The Athletic just came out with an
article?
The Athletic just came out with an article talking about it.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see this.
Just type in
ESPN fires RG3 with 2 years remaining on deals. Sources. Griffin, who just last year had been viewed as a rising star, and ESPN had 2 years remaining as hire. He's hired 3 years ago. Best. They said it was one of the best auditions I've ever seen. This is. So it's still required. It's a developing story. ESPN declined to comment. ESPN's entering the end of its fiscal year where it typically makes these types of decisions. Griffin's stock had fallen, making him a prime candidate to be let go. While his 7-figure per year salary will be honored, his role had diminished to a point to where ESPN decided not to keep him on. He was informed of ESPN's move on Thursday morning, a source briefed, and the decision confirmed. I didn't realize his stock had fallen like that.
What do you mean?
Right?
I'm surprised too, because he was on big time games last year. I don't know what stock was diminished. Plus,
When I
did all
thought
the
he was
NFL Monday Night
good,
stuff.
I thought he was good too, right? He's an acquire. He's not boring, right? He's polarizing. A lot of people really don't like him.
I think he's better studio than games. I think he's better studio than games.
I thought he was good at games, dude. I
think
his
he made
kind
a
of
little bit too much about himself
McAfee
sometimes.
stuff.
Yeah,
maybe so.
But sometimes, like, listen, I don't know. I'm a little bit old school with games. I get studio stuff. I get, I like McAfee. But like when I want to watch a game, I want to watch the game. Like I don't want the announcer to make the game about himself. I want to listen. I want to be educated. I want to be entertained. But like I'm here to watch a game, not hear you try and go viral.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's like McAfee calling games as well. And I like both those guys calling games. So
well, I think I didn't love McAfee calling games. He's better studio. People, big personalities like that are better in studio.
Kevin says TBob's high. Not yet. I gotta wait till I get home. Also, though, 7 figures is a lot. If RG3 is getting 7 figures, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how many people But he was doing games for college. He was doing Monday Night Football, which is a big property, the pregame show.
Which they said Jason Kelsey's replaced him on now.
Yeah, which can be awesome. But like that, I mean, that's the Monday night pregame show is a pretty big property. So he was doing a lot of stuff during the week. Plus, he was doing a lot of ESPN in studio. I mean, he was probably getting 50 to 60 hits a year, which is a lot.
Yeah. But still, I know a little bit. I'm going to talk out of my ass a little bit here. I know that ESPN has kind of become a thorn in Disney's side. They view like they've been trying to sell. They've been entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
There was all this talk of Hulu where I think it was maybe going to like let Hulu have ESPN. They were going to get out of it. I can't remember all the exact details, but they've been trying to figure out ESPN financially. And so if RG3 is making 7 figures, how many people there are making 7 figures? And eventually they're going to, like I said, like the stocks remain not good. For Disney, that is, and so they're trying to cut where they can, I suppose.
Interesting timing, though. I mean, we're a week and a half away from first games.
So I would say the timing speaks of scandal, but again, I don't want to be too sensationalist because it does say ESPN's entering the end of its fiscal year, where it typically makes these types of decisions. So, what?
I don't care. Like you have a good idea of where you were heading financially into this point. You would have made this decision months ago before you start essentially putting your teams together. Like he was a part of a team heading into this season.
Well, it says
you're not going to just cut
canceled?
him a week and a half before the season.
Well,
starts.
but it made it. But
for finances.
Could this be a situation where this is not an?
And they're still paying him out. It says so. Why? How is that going to hurt?
Well, because you don't want to go fight the contract, I guess. But could this be a situation though where it's not ESPN? This is a Disney higher up. Like, hey,
we balance the why does the fiscal year ending have anything to do with it if they're still going to pay him out? The money is still going to him. Does not change that.
Because he won't be on the books as they project forward, I suppose.
Why not? He's going to get paid out the remaining 2 years.
You have to honor contracts. You still have to get out of them. I don't know. I'm not enough of a financial guy to say. So you're saying you think that that maybe there's some event here.
If he's getting paid out the remainder of his contract, it has nothing to do with finance because they're still losing that money.
I don't think I don't know if that's true, but I don't know if it's untrue either. I mean, I think that takes maybe somebody who actually balances books and knows how corporate budgets and fiscal years work better than we do to say that. Brandon Reese says put Pollock on the SEC network. That would Pollock not be above the SEC network? I don't know.
I don't think Pollock's going back to. It's still all under Disney. So does it? I think there's a severing of Pollock from ESPN, and I don't know if he wants to go back after what happened.
Andy J says, bring back Marcus Spears. Well, the problem is Marcus Spears went NFL.
Yeah.
And once you go NFL, you ain't going back to college unless you have to, a la RG3.
RG was doing both.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm saying, like, if you make it as a full-time NFL voice, you are never going back to college unless you are forced to because you are pushed back down. I guess maybe Booger would be a better example because he was on Monday Night Football, and then they pushed back down to what is it? This college football studio show, which I love Booger as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Aaron. Do you think Disney will hire me now that I'm shirtless talking about coming on my own stomach?
I know. I hope I don't get fired after this damn show.
Oh, sorry, bro. End of fiscal year. But they'd have to fire CD too, and they can't get rid of both of you, right?
True.
You do. Your body language looks a little legitimately nervous here.
I am. Damn it. We need to end the show. I got to put my shirt back on.
Well, do you want to put it on right now?
Sorry, too late.
It's already too late. Dude. Well, at least you didn't choose today to finally link the StreamYard to your Twitter, so we have way more people watching than we generally.
It worked though. Look at that. Imagine we link.
It worked, dude. Now, once we link mine, like we yeah, dude, we'll be pushing over like K live per show.
Let's go.
Shout out Twitter. All right. So, do we want to run through the defensive All-Americans?
Just nervous about getting fired right now.
I can tell you're really thrown off. All right, we can end it. Let me give you one fun defensive player stat. Let's see what I got here. Here's a name to know. Ashton Giat from Louisville. Excuse me. Ashton Giat from Louisville. 11 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 58 total pressures. First team All-American.
Thank you, Chad. Chad, I needed this comment from you. I was expecting this from TBob. I appreciate Chad coming in hot though.
Whatever. Chad's a little bitch. He said sometimes TBob needs his fucking ass kicked to something. I'd love to see you try, Chad. Look at this, dude. You think you can handle this, dude? I don't think so, bro. You got to wake up a lot earlier in the morning if you want to take on this hobbit. Oh, yeah. Bro. Look at that. It's a fucking bull, dude.
Last beach weekend for your boy. I feel like I'm in good shape right now. I think I'm ready.
Hell yeah. I got a couple more lake weekends. Oh, son. Look at that.
The tat's making its appearance.
I think people have seen the tattoo, maybe not, but of course, Aaron is both Catholic and Jewish.
I'm a cashew.
Paradoxical. Yeah, cashew. Not many of them. All right. We love you so much. Thank you for hanging out with us. Again, if you're listening on Twitter, a couple ways you can help. Go sub to the pod. That helps certainly get the download numbers up. But the main thing is we're trying to grow on YouTube. So youtube.com/@snapscfb. We have this show up there all the time. We have breakout videos. We're trying to get back to shorts. We just don't want to pay people for it right now. I mean, we're just being like completely honest. I don't fucking want to spend the money on that right now.
I'm making some stuff. We'll get
going. And we have our college football 25 gameplay videos where you can watch me whip Aaron's ass every game.
Yeah, okay.
I'm actually 0-4. I'm 0-4, and it's moving in the wrong direction. I've had one close game. And I'm getting worse as time goes on, somehow. All right. We love you. And we'll see you for a brand new episode of Snaps on Monday. Everybody have a great week.